Hi guys, in this week's episode of Taylor Talks Trades, we are with Fraser Dodds, the Baldy Carpenter. He's taken us on his journey from being a railway signaller to being a carpenter, making bespoke furniture, passing on his knowledge and skills, and Baldy TV. I hope you enjoy. Hi Fraser, welcome to Taylor Talks Trades. How are you, mate?
I'm very well indeed.
Good.
It's great to be here.
I'll start where I always start. How did you get into the trades then?
So I get into the trades by pure accident, and this will be quite a strange one for you. So I'm actually trained as a signalling tester in the railway.
Okay.
So I spent 18 years. I left school without a job. I found a job in a newspaper, became a railway signalling engineer, and worked my way through there for 18 years. And I was a railway signalling tester. And great job. Shift work, lots of money, made sure the trains didn't crash, and as far as I know, I've done not a bad job because I've not seen any train crashes so far. However, I worked for various companies and worked for Network Rail, and then I went to the best job in the world. I was promised the best job in the world, and I moved to a contractor, and it was the worst job in the world. In 11 months, they made me redundant.
Right.
And I lost everything. I lost all my service, I lost everything. I had 2 kids at the time, a year old and 18 months, and didn't know what to do. So essentially I was in Alexander Parade in Glasgow. I walked along to Glasgow Cathedral, sat downstairs, and kind of basically said, right, big man, what's next? Basically, it was what I did. And I sat every lunchtime for about 6 weeks. So I did that classic, we'll try and relocate you within the business, which really just means we're going through the legal process, but we're going to make you redundant anyway. That was essentially what it was going to be. So I sat in the cathedral for 6 weeks every lunchtime going, what am I going to do? And I won't say I didn't get a fit of inspiration. I just came to think I need to do something else, and basically thought, what else can I do? And the gentleman that was going to make me redundant, he said, have you ever been made redundant before? I went, nah, never. He said, right, bit of advice, either go and do something different or go to the pub. And he said, and the second one doesn't work. I went, okay, that's ideal. So that got me then thinking, do something else. And I was always really practical, renovated houses and did that type of stuff. And I loved woodwork. So I basically went home. I decided in the cathedral, I'm going to start making furniture. Don't really know how. So I spent my time with this contractor on Mr. Google trying to work out, where do you buy timber from? Where do you do this? Where do you do that? And I then got chatting to a company in Carnwath, Lanarkshire Hardwoods, Patrick Baxter down there. He said, come down and see me. Went down to see him, looked to see what he had, thought, yep, this is it. So I built a shed in the back garden, a 10-foot square shed in the back garden. Wife was a little bit upset, obviously, because I've no job, no income, 2 small children, but
had a shed
with nothing. So built a shed, 10-foot square shed. Started making.
Did she not put you in it?
Well, there was maybe a chance of going. There's maybe a chance you might end up in this if you don't make some money soon. So I did the classic of let's make things, sell it to family and friends, make a bit. And I remember that Straven every Christmas has a reindeer festival thing with the reindeer come around, and I do scouting as well. So I got hold of the scout marquee and set myself up as a stall. And I can always remember that first day, I sold a console table for £350, and I was absolutely buzzing because it was £350. And I think now where I am, £350, you hardly get your bed for it in some respect, do you? But then, this was huge. This was a massive thing for me. And it cemented, like, yep, this is what I'm now going to do. And then I got a commission from that for a set of Nesta tables. And I made them, and I was my roof fixed, not by Taylor Roof, I'm really sorry, but a local roofer, and I didn't have any space to clamp the tables together, and I was doing it in the grass outside, and the guy said, well, why are you doing it here? There's a spare workshop in the town that's lying empty. I went, is there? Yeah, it's such and such, and I knew the guy that owned it, so made a phone call, it's lying spare machines, have it if you want, £300 a month. I went, bingo, so we moved to that. So that was the first move. Then I outgrew that, and then I found another unit that was going to be free. And ironically, it was an old railway building in Straven. That was an old railway goods yard. So I went from that building to another railway. So I left the railway, started a business, and ended up back in the railway building again, making furniture.
What was the chances
Which was
of
brilliant.
that?
An old pitch pine coal yard. So I was in there. So we started 2009.
Yep.
So I moved to that in about 2012. And then 2014, the place burnt down in its entirety. So it was a row of units, all pitch pine units, and a bit of argy-bargy with a few people. Don't quite know the full story. Essentially, I was collateral damage to whatever happened. And one Friday, the 14th of November, the whole place burnt to the ground. So I lost everything.
Wow.
It wasn't a single thing salvageable.
Was this all your bespoke craft made stuff that you put all that time and effort into?
Everything was gone. All my tools were gone. Everything was gone. And my grandfather was a hobbyist.
Yeah.
And I remember it took the whole weekend for it to cool down, and we were handed the keys. We were handed a gate back that was half hanging off its hinges because the fire brigade had cut it open.
Oh man.
And said, "There's your building back." And I was renting, so the building didn't belong to me, but the contents did. And my landlord said, "Well, you have to empty it." Basically, and I went, "Oh, but there's just rubble." She goes, "Yep, you'll have to empty the rubble." And there was another unit further along, and the guy stopped his car and he said, "Fraser, what are you doing?" I went, "I don't know. I don't actually know what to do." I said, "But do you know what I do want to do though? My grandfather had 3 chisels, and I want to find those chisels." And we spent hours raking through the ash, and we found them.
Wow.
We found the chisel lines because I remembered where they were on the bench before it burnt down. You know, I remember they were on the bench on that corner, roughly about there, and we found them. The handles were gone, but we found the irons, and that's the only thing I salvaged, and I managed to keep that. And that then put me in this wonderful learning curve. It wasn't wonderful at the time, but now it's a really wonderful thing. And human nature comes through massively at that point. So there was a place burnt down, massive messages of people going, "Really sorry to hear, horrendous, what happened." Yep, that's fine. Lots of offer for support. There was a Just Giving page set up on our behalf in the town, which we closed down quite quickly to go, "Look, we're insured. We don't need this." But that again, we got tools left at the door. If people have seen my videos or my pictures online, you'll see my wooden toolbox. That was left on my doorstep by somebody full of tools. That was their dad's toolbox.
Amazing.
That just handed it to me. Lovely. I got a unit given to me free from a landlord in the town who had industrial units, and she phoned me up and said, "Look, have a unit till you're up running again." Brilliant. So it bounced me back up again.
Phenomenal, isn't it?
That was 2014, 15, and then I moved to where I am now, and we're just growing, and we're just continuing. So this is the path now.
Yeah.
I don't plan to make myself redundant from this, which would be good. So I'll continue.
There's not going to be any redundancies, there's not going to be any fires.
No, fingers crossed, no. So this is my new life in some respects. So a complete change from railway signalling testing to woodwork.
Very interesting. So how did you learn the skills then?
I'm completely self-taught.
Yeah?
I'm completely self-taught, which is also a problem, most definitely. So when I was in the unit before it burnt down, a gentleman came to see me and he said, "Look, he'd been made redundant from his job and he was a time served joiner." And he said, "You taking MD on?" I went, "Oh, I'm really sorry, I'm not actually, no, but I could pass you on to somebody else." And he kept barraging me, basically saying, "I want to work for you at some point." And after the fire happened and I moved to this other unit, and I thought, I'm getting to a point where I'm maybe not fully understanding what I need to be. I got in touch with this guy and I said, "Listen, I think I want to employ you." He went, "Brilliant, when do I start?" So I said, interesting, it was quite funny, we laugh at this now. I got him in on Saturdays just to give him a try. And I went in this one Saturday and I was making desks and bookcases out of elm for a decent customer of ours. And he went in on Saturday and he machined it all for me. And that was all fine. And I came in next week and I was like, right, I think I made a decision. I think I need to employ him. So I sent him a message and said, "Thanks very much for Saturday. Is there any chance you could pop in and see me?" And that's all I said. And in my head, I was like, well, that's just fine. He read it and his heart dropped. I think, oh my God, I've just machined hundreds of pounds worth of elm. And he's just said, "Can you come and see me? What have I done wrong?" So he spent his whole day panicking that I was about to get an absolute roasting for me. He walked in the front door and I remember this day, he walked in, his face just was a picture. He went, "Problem?" I went, "Problem? Well, unless you don't want to work for me, then yes. But, oh, she's thank God for that, right? So Graham, he came on board then. Graham was fully qualified, and he then brought that knowledge of machinery, processes, which I never had or could see. So we actually work very well together. While I'm the owner and he's my employee, he brings so much knowledge to the business.
Yeah.
And I can sit and run the business, grow the business and learn, and he's got the knowledge base to go, this is how we could do this better. And we always laugh, he always spends my money. He looks at machines and goes, do you know what, you quite like this machine, this would do this for you. We're okay, let me see. And before we know it, we bought it, which is really good. So we bounce off each other very well, which is really good. But self-taught, which some people might go, oh, I don't want him, but
I think
the proof is in the pudding.
I think when they see what you're actually
producing,
then it's just it's its own craft in itself, isn't it? You're just taking something from an idea, essentially, and a piece of wood in some shape or form to actually something beautiful that somebody's really wanting. And that probably, what's the differences then between, I guess, that, which is a really bespoke sort of, I guess, market, as opposed to somebody going and trying to buy something off a shelf, or maybe, I'm guessing these people won't have as much a budget as such. They're more, this is what I want, can you create it, is more the question rather than how much will it cost, is that
right? I would say yes. I think there is a balance. There is most definitely a balance. There's most definitely a balance. And I think that my customer base then is generally people who, they may well have had families that have then left home, so there is places for the big warehouses that stack flat pack furniture. There's a place for that furniture in folks' houses that will get wrecked by your kids and all that sort of stuff, and that's absolutely fine. But my customer base are generally people beyond that stage and going, do you know what, I want something that's a bit better, a bit nicer. And they'll get us in, and I suppose bookcases or TV cabinets are all, they're probably the epitome of what you say of being bespoke. So we'll take, like a look, you've got a television, the wall over there. Sometimes our customer comes up, I want that, a unit around that. And first thing I'll do is measure the telly. And what are you measuring the telly for? I said, because that's the size of the middle case. And then we'll then go that way out from this. I said, that'll always fit in. Go and get me your sound bar or your speakers, and we'll measure all those things. And then people begin to realise, right, so we're not just fitting this into something off the shelf, we're actually building this to suit what we've got. And that tips people over to, this is what I really want. There comes a price point in that, and sometimes that people gets to that point for, well, actually, I don't want to spend that amount of money on that, and that's fine. You'll always have that, and that's completely acceptable. But most people, the bespokeness is about just getting it the way you want it, rather than a compromise of what you might get.
There's probably pros and cons to that market as well, I guess. But it must be really pleasing when someone's just putting their faith in you to actually produce it. And I'm not saying no worrying what it costs, but kind of thinking, look, if you can get it right, then I'm going to be happy and I'll pay you whatever I need to pay you. Most definitely.
I think one of the biggest downfalls I find is that if you look at a lot of the business growth type things, or if they'll talk about if your business is down, then go to your customers and ask them, will they do this or do that? I don't have customer base. I've got one-off customers. And I've got some repeat customers who'll come for another piece of furniture or something else, but generally my customer list is one-off projects. So I don't supply an organisation with anything. So that makes it tricky. So if my phone stopped ringing, I've nobody to phone to say, you need any work done this week.
And is there anything you can do in terms of like going to like, I'm guessing there would be like, you spoke about in the early stages that you went and set up a stall, like do you go places and put stalls and show some of this stuff, or?
I might go back to that. I tried it once, and again, it's like lessons. It's just lessons, I went to a show in the SECC years ago. Cost me thousands. And I set my stand up, and I had all my wares on show, and nobody spoke to me, and nobody bought anything. And I stood for 4 days thinking, what am I doing here? What am I doing? And I was also a member of the Scottish Furniture Makers Association at the time. And I remember going back to some of the members there and saying, what happened? And the guy said, well, it's quite simple. He said, it's on for 4 days. The Friday's trade day. You get off your stand, you talk to trades. Saturday is people's serious business. Saturday afternoon is people with prams. So he said, get off your stand, talk to people. I went, I didn't do that. I just stood. He went, well, there you go.
You're waiting on somebody to come.
Waiting. I went, right, okay. So I learned a lot from that, thinking, well, I can't do that. So I might go back to a show now in future with maybe one or two I might just go back with windows.
Also letting people know you're going to be there. Like, that's the joy of social media now. I've seen that you've been posting quite a lot on social media. Your stuff's really nice.
Yeah.
And it's probably, you can have the best product in the world, but if nobody knows about it, then it's not going to be anywhere.
Exactly.
I guess it's not exactly a product as such. It's a host of products that you've got, but like, you know, it might take for you to create something and then be putting it out there and say, and somebody goes, I actually really like that. Could I buy that off you, or could you make one for me? And
yes, I think
it's
definitely. I think definitely. I think
right.
now when I look at the business, I've got the windows that I create, and the doors, the sash and case, and the casing windows and the doors. They're not really bespoke.
Yeah.
They're a very good product. Not a sash and case window is a sash and case window. It goes up and down. That's really as much as you need to worry about it. How it's created and what's used within it is important. And I think we've maybe better than others on that side of it. But that's the type of product I could take to a show. And push out to people. You know, and say, look, renovation projects, heritage projects, this is something I do. The furniture, it's a very particular market of that, and there's two different streams there, I think, that need to be explored in two completely different ways.
We went to the Royal Highland show and we were doing like a slating demonstration.
I saw that, it was brilliant.
And we actually didn't think there would be that many people that would actually come, but lots of people came, like lots of kids just wanted to come, and what we ended up doing was like, we'd cut out a slate, like a love heart, or it ended up by the third day it was like shields and swords and axes and all sorts, and it just sort of like gave them a wee insight to using the tools and stuff like that. And I wonder if there might be something like that you could potentially do where, maybe on a bit of a smaller scale, do you know, you're maybe not going to sit there and carve something out completely, but maybe get hands-on a wee bit and say make your own gift, and then that just gets the attention. But these things can be quite difficult to...
I think they can, but I think there's two. There's one, getting your name. You know, obviously you were at the show, people will see your name, whether they took part in your activity or not. It doesn't matter. They walked past and saw Taylor Roofs. Oh, there's a name I'm going to remember, and like that's why I'm called the Baldy Carpenter. Which folk go, why do you ever call yourself that? And I was after a bottle of wine several years ago, and but it's memorable. You know, and that's important. So just getting the name out to people is good, and doing that, and even just letting people understand where do things come from. You know, like people look at their roofs all day long and not realise that piece of slate, there's hundreds of these on your roof. And you go, is that what a slate looks like? Because we know what it looks like. You know what a slate looks like. I know what a piece of wood looks like.
And that's came from a quarry somewhere. And all the rest.
Exactly. You know, the number of people that they think timber is what they see in the big stores on the racks. They think that's what timber is, and you go, no, see the big green thing outside, the leaves in it, that's trees, that's wood.
Definitely.
You go, right, how does that turn into this? And I think I sometimes forget that message to people, and that might be a Baldi TV episode soon.
Definitely.
Of letting people see.
What's the situation with the Baldi TV then? I think I seen one of your videos. Did you just come up with the concept?
I think we just. I used the term Baldi HQ. Sort of surprisingly, and then I didn't even think of that when I threw. I just happened to say to somebody Baldi HQ. And then all of a sudden, people start picking that up on. And fun enough, I got a promotional leaflet through my door the other day addressed to Baldi HQ and the address, which I thought was absolutely brilliant. A hardware company down south. And that just happened. And then I just thought, I'll do a wee video about something. And again, just a LinkedIn post, I've called it Baldi TV. And then folk went, Baldi TV, what a brilliant idea. I went, it wasn't an idea, but okay, I'll take it.
Brilliant.
So and so I just... It was a bit of that wee knowledge base of one. I did one of the early ones. I was going to try and reshare it again. I did about splitting something into threes and putting your rule at an angle and all this sort of stuff. And for me, it was something I'd found in a book somewhere. And I get massive responses from that. And you begin to realise, people don't. You understand what you do, but maybe other people don't understand what you do. They don't understand.
And they
want
to come into your world and see what's happening.
Yeah, they want to see.
Are you on TikTok or anything like that?
I've started.
I think you do well in there.
I've watched a bit of it, and I'm trying to
get your head around it.
I'm trying to work out how to, because I think it's about showing people how to do things, rather than just promoting your business. And I'm trying to now to think, right, what can I do to show people what we do?
giving them, it's a bit, there's probably a mixture of education and entertainment. So if you can blend the two, it's fun for them to watch, which it probably would be, like you, kind of with your humour and your sort of that good nature that you've got with it. Look, welcome to Baldi TV, but also that you're going to learn something today.
I think so.
I think
definitely.
I think you should really push yourself out there on it.
It'd be good to do. I think people like it. People like to interact. They like to see it.
And it's because like people deserve to have these products like in their home. Do you know? It's so easy to, like you said, go to the flat pack furniture store and just okay, like that'll do. It's that's the easy option, but it's people need to know. Like,
and I think that we did just one of the recent bookcase projects we did, and I always say to all my customers, we produce it in the workshop. We'll build it in the workshop, and then we let them come and see it. Generally, before, if we have to paint it or finish it at all, we let them come and see it, because that's when to change it. I take it to their house to go, oh, actually that's not the right colour. We're beyond fixing, really. So I always say come to the workshop and see it. And the couple that we did a big bookcase for recently, they thought, this is a brilliant idea. Yeah, of course it's a brilliant idea. So they walked in, and I remember the wife particularly went, my word, this isn't what I expected at all. And I sank a little bit, thinking, oh dear, this is brilliant. This is like a proper workshop. I went, this is where your stuff gets properly produced. And they loved it. And she ended up looking all over the workshop. Oh, what's that machine doing? What does that machine do? And I thought, now you're beginning to get a little bit of knowledge,
an insight
of where it's come from. And I was even able to take those battens of timber line and said, that's where it started. So that length of beech that's 2.4 long, 300 wide, 25 mil thick, there's lots of them joined together to make this. She was like, wow, that's amazing. And that's really nice, and that it bolsters this idea of let's tell people. And people getting that feeling, then probably like, can you make me something else? Do you know? Definitely.
And there probably would people know what to get involved in that and learn it as well?
I've been asked a few times by people.
Have you got any apprentices or anything, or is it something you've ever looked at? Or?
I don't have any apprentices, no. I don't know what to do on that one. That's a really tricky one for me. And I've got a guy near the shoulder in this one, because I can't just close my business and move on. We've got to pass the skills on, most definitely, to people coming through. And I think that there are a lot of joinery people in the world who use a nail gun, bang, 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 that's me done. I've hung my door, I've put my door frames up, and you go, and they'll go, I was at the college, I remember seeing machines like that at the college, but I've never touched them since. Going, but there's an old element, we still need to manufacture. We can't just be in a site, and we can't lose these skills. And my challenge though as a small business is, if I bring an apprentice in, I need an output of that.
Absolutely.
That's going to pay for the time invested in it. And there's been a few horror stories you've heard of people taking people on, and all they've done is use it as a springboard to get their own clients to then go and do their own thing elsewhere, and that's really tricky, you know. And
it's a
tough call to make, and you need to be in a probably more of a financial position that you can say, yep, I can absorb.
There is like certain support from like CITB and different things. There is elements of funding and stuff. Like I'll pass you some stuff after the episode kind of thing, but it would just be a shame to see it go to waste.
No, definitely. I've had a few.
You know, got anybody in the family or that could take it on or anything?
My daughter says she will, but she's only 9 at this moment in time, so I've got a bit of time to go yet. But I've had a couple of people in, and it's been good. I've had somebody work for me who not in the trade at all, and they didn't really work out. It wasn't. They thought it was for them, wasn't for them. I then had somebody who was in the trade. They came in, and it didn't. There were a few things there that just didn't work out. It's allowed me to focus on what do I actually need for the business.
That is the only way.
And that's really
you've
good.
got to kiss a few frogs.
Most definitely. You know, and it's also there's 2.5 of us in the business. There's myself going full time and Naomi's in the office 3 days a week, but also in the workshop. And it's also making best use of all of our resources first before bringing more people in. You know?
It is quite a difficult thing, I think, especially with what you do, because every day is probably a bit different, and trying to get that, like every day, trying to make sure everyone's kind of done the maximum output as such. It's quite difficult because it's maybe not very tangible to do, whereas like my model's quite scalable. It's sort of almost like the roofing teams go out onto the jobs here, and it's like we can kind of see, right, they're out and that's the production I've done today, great, and you can kind of keep a record of it. But I think when it's bespoke, I think it's sort of less scalable, probably.
Yes.
So it's trying to.
And I think the other thing with it as well, and is the bespokeness side of it, is that I don't do wonderful drawings. I don't do CAD drawings on my projects, and which detail everything to its minor detail. I'll literally sketch out like a bookcase on a wall that's going to be 4 meters long. We're going to do 3 cases, equally spaced. It'll be about this width.
Yeah.
The shelves will be 20 mil thick, but 40 mil lipping. Then you'll get machine and timber. And you might not get 20 mil out the timber, you might get 19 mil out the timber.
Yeah.
So the shelves become 19 mil then.
Yeah.
So you then have to add a mil onto something else to compensate for that. So it becomes fluid as you work.
Yeah.
And so that mindset needs to be a little bit creative as well, of going, well, I'll make this work. And sometimes I don't do all the details.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll just work the unit out and then go, it needs a cornice. Right, what kind of cornice we put in this? Let's go and look at the spindle cutters and go, well, we could use this one and do that and do this. And so when college people come to me and go, I'll start the college, what do you want me to do? I went, well, I kind of want you to machine that timber. What do you want? Well, I want 20 mil-ish out of it. And well, what's supposed to ish? I know, it's really hard. So
it's quite complex.
It's a particular person. They'll come. I'm always.
You'll get someone eventually, and then they'll just like you need a sponge essentially, a person who comes and they're just going to be so fascinated by it, so interested, and they'll want to soak up all your knowledge, and they'll just be like, they'll just try things as well, and you'll probably need to let them make a few mistakes and cut something, and it's no 19 mils ashes.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You know, that's the thing. You cut something wrong, put it back in the rack again, and we'll use that for something else. It's not a great
and that's
problem.
the joy of the way that you do it.
Most definitely. And I think I live by the mantra of what's for you will not go by you.
Yeah.
And one of these days, somebody will bubble up.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Just get along to that cathedral for another 6 weeks.
Maybe so. Maybe you just need to sit down and go, what happens next? But no, something will bubble up. And something will come along. And it was like Graham. He just came to my door saying, I'd like to work, and it's been the best partnership.
How good is that?
It's wonderful, you know. So I always said I would probably never advertise for MD. I would only ever put the message out. I'm looking for somebody, and then see who bubbles up. I think, but I do need to. I would hate to close the place when I retire. Well, we'll never retire, but when we stop doing as much as we're doing.
Don't know if that'll even happen.
I would hate to think of closing the door without having somebody at the back that would take it on or learn from it or something. I think that's got to continue. I think all our trades have got to pass the knowledge on.
Absolutely, that's one of the biggest kind of battles at the moment. And so moving forward, then is that that's maybe the plan? Just keep going as you're going, you and Graham. And
I think so. See if
we can get somebody kind of in.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I don't ever envisage a massive organisation. And I don't really want a big massive shed with 15, 20 joiners working away. I don't. That doesn't drive me, because I think that waters down my involvement in it. It waters down my ability to grow and all that, which I love. So I quite like the size it is. Maybe one more person would be good. But that's probably, I'd be quite happy with that. That'd be quite a nice size of business, because you know yourself, the bigger the organisation, the bigger the bills. That's all it is. At the end of the day, isn't it? Yeah, exactly. You know, it's just the numbers get bigger. So if I try to keep it the way I can, it would be nice. I don't know. Fingers crossed it'll stay, but we're focused on growing what we've got. And making us I look forward to seeing the return of Baldy TV, hopefully. I'll come back. I've got an idea for a few.
And we'll get a wee look on TikTok and stuff.
I'll come back.
And if anybody does want to get in touch with you, what's the best way to kind of get to you? Is it like LinkedIn, or you've got social medias and stuff? Yep.
LinkedIn's a good place. Obviously through the website, brilliant website got rebuilt recently. Been an amazing.
Is that the baldycarpenter.co.uk?
That's correct. Baldy Carpenter. So it's great for folk to look at that, come up with ideas, and then email in. And I always say to people, give me pictures. Give me ideas. Give me the Argos catalogue. I don't care. Just give me lots of images of what you've got. Because you'll never see what you want. You'll never get a picture of what you want, but you'll get something snippets. It's like the storyboard things that people do. You know, give me lots of wee snippets, and then come and chat and say, what do we think? Can I do this? Can I do that? Do the next thing? And from that, we can always offer a guide price, and then from that take it further, which is always good.
Good, perfect, mate. Thanks for that.
No bother, sir.
Brilliant.
Enjoyed it. Thank you, sir.
Good man.
Cheers.